Hello, I am Jordan Rocco and I am bringing you episode 5 of the World of Sports podcast. Boy, do we have a great show for you today. On this episode, I'll be saying who I believe are the best prospects in the 2018 NFL Draft. Each prospect is projected to be selected in the first round, and these are the players who I believe you'll be hearing about in the future. I chose one player from each position, except I only chose one offensive lineman and one defensive lineman. Most likely, I'll be wrong, and there will be a late round selection who turns out to be a star like Tom Brady, but I don't have the power to tell you the future. But I do have Google, which helps me research and choose who I think will have the best careers in the NFL based off stats and highlights. Now, make sure you get some popcorn and a drink, and let's get into this show. We'll be starting off with offense. The first position I'll discuss is the quarterback position. To me, this is the most stacked position in the draft. The 2018 draft class is the class of the quarterbacks. Both Baker Mayfield, who is a reigning Heisman Award winner, and Lamar Jackson, who won the Heisman Award in 2016, are in the draft, but I selected neither of them. I believe that Josh Rosen will have the best career in the NFL. The junior had a solid career at the University of California, In 3 years, he passed for 9,301 yards, 59 touchdowns, and only threw 26 interceptions. His most successful season was his most recent one, which was his junior season, where he had a career high in passing yards with 3,717 and a career high in passing touchdowns with 26 touchdowns. And he only played in 11 games. In his sophomore season, he had a season-ending shoulder injury, which only allowed him to play in a total of 6 games. I bring this up because this shows a weakness of his, which is durability. Another weakness I found after doing research is that Rosen has attitude problems and could have problems with coaches and teammates, but hopefully he'll be able to mature as he makes the move to the NFL, which going from college to the NFL is a very big transition. The NFL is a lot more intense than college, so hopefully Rosen will be able to stay healthy. A couple strengths about Rosen are he is an accurate passer and he has good size. He is 6'4" and 210 pounds. He also has good field vision. Rosen probably has the best arm in the draft. And that's saying a lot because this draft is filled with talent. Just watch these highlights. You can definitely tell Rosen has that arm. And for me saying that he has the best arm, that shows a lot because you got Baker Mayfield, you got Sam Darnold. So it's going to be hard to tell if he's the best running or quarterback since there are plenty of good quarterbacks. But we will see. The next position is running back. This was the easiest one to select out of all because Saquon Barkley is a beast. Saquon Barkley is the most athletic and talented prospect in this draft. The junior running back has had an incredible college career. In his 3 years at Penn State, he rushed for a total of 3,843 yards on 671 attempts and averaged 5 yards per carry. In case you didn't know, that means each time he is given the ball, in rushes, he gets at least 5 yards, and he's had a total of 43 rushing touchdowns. On a team that usually doesn't have a good offensive line, for example, the most recent season, they allowed 56 sacks. This is incredible that he was still able to put up big numbers. Not only is he an elite rusher, but he is also talented at receiving. In 3 seasons, he had 102 receptions, 1,195 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. In the NFL, it is important that the running back can be talented at not only rushing the ball, but also catching it. Barkley has it all. He has a speed, acceleration, agility, great field vision, and even decent size by standing at 5'11" and weighing 223 pounds. A weakness for Barkley is his inability to read blocks and have patience. Look at Le'Veon Bell, who is one of the NFL's top running backs for a reason, and it is because he is able to have patience and wait for an opening, but Barkley will have plenty of experience in the NFL and will be able to learn as time goes on. Barkley is projected to get selected with the first pick by the Cleveland Browns. I know, poor guy, but hopefully he can help turn that team around. Now for the next position. It will be the wide receiver. Calvin Ridley is by far the top receiver in this class. Ridley had a very big play in the national championship where he caught a 7-yard touchdown to tie the game, which in case you did not know, they ended up winning in overtime and are the 2017 through 2018 NCAA national champions. Although he was on a very talented team, he still played a big role for the Crimson Tide. In 3 seasons playing for Alabama, Ridley had a total of 224 receptions, 2,781 yards, and 19 touchdowns. Ridley is a big playmaker, and with his quick feet and good speed, he is a threat to score on any touch. Another strength is his great athleticism. One weakness of Ridley's is his size. He has a thin frame and is only 6'1", which is still decent height, but his size shouldn't stop him from being a star in NFL, which we see all these short receivers. It's all about the talent you have. Now, we're going to go into tight end position. Mark Andrews is the top tight end in this draft. He has played for the University of Oklahoma for 3 seasons, and this season he showed he is a NFL caliber tight end with the numbers he put up. In his junior season, Andrews had 62 receptions, 958 yards, and 8 touchdowns. His incredible performance this season won him the 2017 John Mackey Award, which is awarded to the most outstanding tight end. Andrews has both the size and athleticism. Not only does he have long arms, but he has reliable hands and the athleticism to make acrobatic catches. Andrews will be the tight end that quarterbacks feel comfortable throwing to. Something that can affect Andrews' draft stock negatively is his lack of ability to block. As a tight end, the team relies on you to make the big blocks, and in college he didn't really show that he can make the big blocks, but he will have plenty of the time in NFL to work on that. Speaking of blocking, our top offensive lineman prospect is the offensive guard from Notre Dame, Quentin Nelson. Nelson has great size, standing at 6'5" and weighing 325 pounds. In case you didn't know, that's huge. After watching his highlights, I have to say I've never seen somebody that weighs over 300 pounds that is able to move the way he does. Nelson has pure athleticism, which makes him a very technical lineman. Nelson is very talented at run blocking, and his size helps him with pass blocking since he is too wide for defenders to get around him. Nelson is a rare breed. It is very hard to find an offensive lineman that not only has a perfect size, but also very athletic. Nelson will be an unstoppable force in the NFL. Mark my words. Now, it's time for defense. The top defensive back in the 2018 NFL Draft is Minkah Fitzpatrick, who is a junior from the University of Alabama. In 3 seasons, Minkah had a total of 110 tackles, 5 sacks, and 9 interceptions, which 4 of those 9 were returned for a touchdown. His junior season wasn't as successful as the past 2, but one season does not define Minkah's talent. Minkah is very versatile. Not only does he play defensive back, but he will also play safety. Minkah's incredible playmaking ability makes it almost impossible for quarterbacks to throw his way without the ball getting either intercepted or deflected by him. He is also able to get physical as a tackler, which is very important for defensive backs in the NFL to be skilled at tackling. I mean, if you watch college games, you can tell that a lot of the defensive backs cannot even tackle. He possesses good leadership skills. Minkah doesn't have the ideal height since he's only 6 foot tall, and he lacks speed, but he should still be able to have a good and long career because he has a lot of strengths more than weaknesses. The best safety in the 2018 NFL Draft is Derwin James. Although the junior safety from Florida State had injury problems throughout his college career by only being able to play in 2 games his sophomore year due to suffering a torn cartilage in his knee, he showed in his junior season that his durability should not be questioned by playing in 12 games and having a total of 84 tackles and 2 interceptions. James is one of the most physically talented players coming out of the draft. He has good athleticism, and although durability can be an issue in the NFL, I feel that James will have a great career. He has been great since he came out of high school. He was a 5-star prospect, and everybody wants him to go back to the player he was his freshman season, but it's not that easy. But I see if he goes in the NFL, he can be even better than he was his freshman year. He is 6'3" and weighs 212 pounds. Now let's discuss the top linebacker in the NFL Draft. I'm going to have to go with the junior from the University of Georgia, Kwan Smith. Smith had an incredible junior campaign by having a total of 137 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss of yards, and 6.5 sacks. These are all career highs. His phenomenal junior season earned him the 2017 Dick Butkus Award, which is given to the most outstanding linebacker, in the 2017 Defensive Player of the Year Award. Not only is this linebacker quick, but he is also a hard hitter. Smith is everything you look for from a linebacker and even more. He is durable. He has great instincts. He's athletic. He can drop into zone coverage, and he is a superb run defender. Something that can stop Smith from being a top linebacker in NFL is his lack of size by standing at only 6'1" and weighing 225 pounds. His size can cause issues for him when it comes to getting off blocks. Overall, Smith has a lot more strengths than weaknesses and should have a solid career in the NFL. The top defensive lineman in the 2018 NFL draft is a defensive end from NC State, Bradley Chubb. Chubb has had a fantastic 4-year career at North Carolina State. He stayed consistent in his junior and senior season, by racking up a total of 10 sacks each season. The defensive end plays with a lot of energy and refuses to give up on plays. Chubb is able to use his hands well to get around the edge, and he has good enough speed to stop mobile quarterbacks. Chubb has exceptionally well size and long arms, and he uses his size to his advantage, which a common problem in the NFL is a lot of players have the size, but they don't know how to use it. But in college, Chubb showed he can use it. Chubb is a bit heavy at 275 pounds, but he should lose weight or just gain more muscle with the working out that the NFL players do. Chubb is the top defensive lineman in this draft, and these highlights that you're watching definitely show why, and any team would be lucky to get him. So that is the end of this. Wait. I can't forget the special teams. I'm sure my good friend Alex Petruzzello, who is the starting kicker and punter for the high school I attend, will appreciate this. If it wasn't for Alex, I wouldn't know that kickers and punters are people too. The top punter in this draft is Johnny Townsend. The redshirt senior had a great senior campaign by recording 3,043 yards on 64 punts this season. He had an average of 47 yards per punt, which led the SEC and was the second highest in the nation. And the top kicker in the 2018 NFL draft is the 4-year starting kicker from the University of Auburn, Daniel Carlson. In 4 years, Carlson did not miss a single extra point by making 198 out of 198 attempts. And he made 92 out of 114 field goal attempts. He scored a total of 474 points in his 4-year career. He led the SEC in points in both 2016 and 2017. And now I'm going to bring up a wild card. I know this has been a very long podcast, and I understand if you end this, but I have to include one more player, and this is my sleeper. Although he is very well known, many people consider him to be the best defensive player in all of college football. I cannot leave Shaquem Griffin off this list. Shaquem's story is truly incredible because he only has one hand, but he is still a top player at the University of Central Florida. In his junior season, Shaquem made the transition from defensive back to linebacker. Just like he has done his whole life, Shaquem showed that he can do truly anything by putting up great stats. In 2016, he was named the American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year for his tremendous performance. In 2016, he had a total of 92 tackles. 20 of those tackles were for loss of yards and 11 and a half sacks. Although his stats were not as good in 2017, he still helped lead the University of Central Florida to an undefeated season, and if you ask the fans, a national championship. Shaquem is just too good to not play in the NFL. When you watch him play, you cannot even tell that he is missing a hand. I hope that Shaquem gets drafted or at least picked up by an NFL team because it will show that anyone can do anything. And that's going to wrap up the podcast. Please let us know in the comment section which players in the draft class will have the best careers and why.